Welcome to Phoenix. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
Tonight, something strange happened in the skies over Arizona that still hasn't been fully explained. An event now known as the Phoenix Lights.
It was extraordinary.
No one knows for sure what happened that night in the skies over Arizona in March, but thousands of people saw something.
On March 13th, 1997, between 7:30 and 10:30 p.m., thousands of people reported seeing strange, bright lights flying over Nevada, Arizona, and parts of Mexico. This would become the scene for one of the modern world's most unexplained mysteries, the Phoenix Lights. But what you may not know is how all this ties in with actor Kurt Russell. We're talking about the Phoenix Lights and the involvement of actor Kurt Russell.
Wow. My mind is racing. What could be happening? What is going on? Is this some kind of large-scale movie production? Is Goldie involved? What about their kids?
You're wrong on all accounts.
Oh, shit. Back to the drawing board.
The Phoenix Lights is a pretty well-documented subject. I'm saying, or we're saying about this, isn't brand new news, but the involvement of Kurt Russell is relatively new and something you may or may not know. You probably know Kurt Russell from films like Big Trouble in Little China, Overboard, Escape from New York and LA,
Hell yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, The Hateful Eight, and my personal favorite, The Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, whatever they are.
Wow.
I'm just trying to
Illustrious.
trying to be kind of across the board with his movies.
That's good. You got to pay that mortgage.
But what was Kurt Russell doing around 8 p.m. on March 13th, 1997? And what did it have to do with one of the world's most widely witnessed UFO sightings? Around the same time that night, a man in Henderson, Nevada heard a noise and looked up into the night sky. He described what he heard as the loud sound of something like rushing wind. And what he saw was what he believed to be something the size of a Boeing 747 flying across the sky.
I thought you were going to say Kurt Russell's face. Heard Kurt Russell's voice.
Wrong again. He was just one of the many calls that came in that night that described seeing around 5 lights traveling across the sky all the way from Arizona to Nevada and then down to the Mexican state of Sonora. At one point, a caller claimed that one of the lights broke off, flying to the edge of a nearby forest, coming back and joining back in its position in the very probably well-documented V-shape you see in a lot of photos. Others claim that the 5 were split into 2 leading balls of light and 3 trailing behind, with one of the 3 trailing lights coming up to join the 2 in front for a brief moment before it went back into its original position. But most callers agreed that whatever it was flying over these states was a solid mass, an unidentified flying object.
Okay. So it wasn't just, we've talked a lot about lights and viewing and like holograms and kind of apparition thing. This is like a thing that has a light.
It wasn't just one person in the middle of the desert or the middle of the forest that said, hey, I saw this. It was a lot of people commenting, getting video, getting photos of 1997. We didn't all have cell phones with cameras on it, but there was enough camera equipment to go around that people had. It wasn't necessarily a huge luxury.
Yeah. Fancy dads had camera equipment and VCRs.
And fancy moms.
Oh, thank you.
They said they could figure out the general shape and the size of the aircraft by the stars behind it. It was a clear night, so the callers were able to determine that it was a solid, open-ended triangular shape with the point determining which direction it was traveling in. And they were able to do this by following the stars that it blacked out as it went across the sky. These lights were dubbed the lights over Phoenix.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't put too much
No, I
into
mean,
that.
that's good. It's clear. I like it. I respect it.
You know what you're getting.
Don't bullshit me.
For the sheer number of witnesses and callers that reported seeing them in the area. They were also considered to come in 2 stages, one being the V-shape of 5 lights, and the second phase being a few seemingly lone lights that didn't seem to follow any particular shape like the ones that had come before them, kind of marching to the beat of their own drum.
You don't mean if you connect them, they don't make Kurt Russell's face.
No.
We're not there yet.
Wrong again.
Slow your roll, Rebecca.
Your conspiracy
We'll get
theories
there.
have no place here.
Fair.
But the military would later come out and identify them as flares released by the Air Force in a drill and helium balloons released by a civilian at the same time. At the same time.
How many drills does the military do? Why do they do them at 3 a.m.? Okay, just don't. Come on.
When you've released helium balloons as a civilian.
Yeah, all the time.
Which we do it all the time.
Giant
It's
helium
never at the
balloons.
same time as the Air Force is doing drills.
No, we usually coordinate. We make sure, hey, when's your drills? Great. I'm going to release these balloons from my garage around 4 a.m.
But what does any of this have to do with Kurt Russell?
Exactly. What? Tell me.
I'm going to tell you and everybody else after this break. Did you know that President John Quincy Adams had a pet alligator that he kept in the East Room of the White House? Well, he didn't. That's a myth. What's not a myth is the story of Thomas Jefferson's four-horn ram that terrorized the White House lawn, an animal he knew was dangerous, but did nothing to stop it until it was too late, and someone was dead. These are the kind of stories that Howard Dory and Jessica Dory dive into in the award-nominated podcast, Plodding Through the Presidents. They combine compelling narrative dives with irreverent humor and marital banter, creating a show that listeners say is well-researched, insightful, delightful, and hilarious. They cover myths, mysteries, scandals, and rivalries that bring to life the personalities of the early United States. And they go beyond just the presidents, digging into folks like Benjamin Rush and Governor Morris, two fascinating founders, neither of whom should be trusted with sharp objects. Catch up on their first 3 bingeable seasons now, and plod along with Howard and Jess for the 4th season of Plodding Through the Presidents. Or go to ploddingthroughthepresidents.com. Do you want to relax with curious moments from history? If so, then try the new podcast, Calm History. Each episode is narrated in a calm voice to help you relax or fall asleep. You'll travel back in time to the global history of rubber, Henry Ford, Marco Polo, Joan of Arc, Jackie Robinson, and Easter Island. There's also a 6-part special that reveals the dark mysteries of the Titanic. Just search for Calm History in your podcast player or use the link to silkpodcast.com in the episode notes. Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Are you well?
Not just Kurt Russell, how are you doing? Rebecca's really focused on Kurt Russell
I really
right now.
am, and I want to know how he is. Honestly, if you could respond to us just at Ghost Town Pod, that'd be helpful. But also the rest of you, I want to know how everyone is. I'm excited. We're into October. I'm enjoying myself.
We have been working on a special Halloween 3-part episode that you will find out when the first episode is released this coming Friday.
Yeah, that's soon.
Usually it's a mini episode on a Friday,
Oh, no,
but
no.
No. We're switching things up.
For October, you get a full meaty episode for your Friday. You get to roll into the weekend with knowledge you never thought you would have.
Or needed or wanted.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you haven't subscribed wherever you're listening to this podcast, do it now so you don't miss it.
Yeah.
It'll be 3 parts. It's coming up. We're very excited about it. We got
Absolutely.
video components. We got audio components.
There's so much. There's so much to be experienced. And I just want to say too, that this episode happened kind of serendipitously. It was kind of this organic thing that was surprising to both of us. So we're both really excited because what we got to do for this episode was very special and not a lot of people get to do it. So that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
It has nothing to do with Kurt Russell.
We think.
I guess
You
we don't really know.
It's not dropped yet.
Yeah, maybe it could be.
Keep an open mind is all I'm saying.
We want to say hello to anyone who's listening, anyone who's been supporting the show. If you're new here, welcome. Have a seat or
Hello.
stand at your standing desk.
Yeah. I mean, sitting is the new smoking, so stop smoking.
I love sitting.
Yeah, me too.
It's great.
I love menthol sitting.
Yeah,
Is that
menthol sitting,
something-
really?
Yeah, I'm into like 2 or 3 sits of the menthol kind.
I like clove sitting.
Ooh, I love a clove. I mean, you're really speaking my language right now.
And we would be a pile of dust without our government.
Absolutely.
I mean, a whole lot of nothing with a ciggy hanging
a
out.
whole lot of nothing.
We want to say hello to the mayors.
Mm-hmm.
With a candy cigarette, Kat Joselle.
Hello.
With a candy cigar, congratulations on the baby, I guess.
Well, they still sell those?
Dara Rosenzweig.
Hello. Wow, we are really getting through the cigarette and cigar brand.
With a candy patch to get off of the candy cigarettes, your
Okay.
addiction of that.
Good.
Stephen Bates.
Nice work.
You know who's vaping that candy?
Who? Tell me who.
Ashley Matson.
Hello.
And our governor,
Mm.
who's just getting high on life,
Oh, man.
is just getting high, is breathing that good air.
Oh, in those clean-ass lungs. She's like, I'm above all of this.
But she looks down on it and just
Yeah.
sees the puff of candy smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Hi, how are you doing today?"
Hi, wow.
Very polite.
Welcome to the smoking section.
Yeah.
You're welcome here because I'm not ostracizing people for their addictions.
Wow.
Oh, she's so evolved. God,
So
she's so evolved. Fuck.
Avian Noble. So if you want no ads, no chit chat, bonus episodes, you want to binge, especially these special episodes coming up, a lot of stuff going on in it.
Yeah.
But if you want it faster, without ads, shorter, now,
That's
faster,
right.
me, now, shorter, faster,
Breakneck
live
pace.
fast, die old, and look great the whole time, go to patreon.com/ghosttownpod. Now, back to Kurt Russell from the Christmas Chronicles
Finally.
1 and 2.
Are we just going to read his IMDb? Is that how this all ties together?
Around 8 p.m. on March 13th, 1997, Kurt Russell was the pilot of a small aircraft that was carrying him and his son Oliver. He was flying his son into Phoenix when they spotted 5 lights flying in the sky in the shape of a V. His son Oliver pointed at the lights and asked his father what they were and if they were all right or if they were in any danger. And Kurt Russell told him that everything was fine, but he picked up the radio and called it in just to be sure. This means that Kurt Russell was actually the first or one of the first people to call in the strange UFO sighting that night, something he didn't realize until he was watching coverage on the Phoenix Lights years later, and he was able to piece it together.
One time, Oliver, I was flying. It was in a time where I was kind of like I just a couple years earlier learned to fly. So I was still at a period in my life where any excuse to fly would do. He wanted to go to Phoenix to see a friend. So we're going into Phoenix, and I think it was Sky Harbor, and there's these bank of lights, 6 lights, in the shape of a triangle going back right over the airport. And I'm looking at them as I'm coming in. I'm, on the horn talking to them, and I'm coming in. And I'm not saying anything about it because I'm kind of confused by it, but I can't tell if this is going to be an issue or not with landing. And Oliver said, "Hey, Pa, what are those lights?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they are." And so anyway, I called up the tower and I said, "What are you guys painting tonight over the airport?" And they said, "We're not showing anything. What are you seeing?" I said, "Well, there's 6 lights in a row." And they said, "Do you want to report this?" And I said, "Look, I can't identify it. It's flying and it's 6 objects." So that's what it is, right? So we landed. I dropped him off, flew home. Years later, I come home, and Goldie's watching this show on UFOs. And the most reported one of all time was this one in Phoenix. And I start to see this show, and I said, "Wait a minute. That's the night Ollie and I were landing in Phoenix. I remember that." And I said, "Wait a minute, I've got it in my logbook." So I went to my logbook, and I didn't mention anything about the reporting the UFO, but my flight was logged. So I said, "Yeah," and on the show they talked about 20,000 people reporting it and only one general aviation pilot. And I said, that's me.
When it comes to UFO sightings in the last 50 years, this is one of the biggest ones.
Wow. I mean, it was like a groundbreaking thing. He was a trailblazer, I guess. And his son probably will have that story. I actually met Oliver Hudson once. He was very chill. I want to know what that family's belief in UFOs is, or what the nature. I wonder.
I feel like
Just
Kurt Russell
now,
would be
after all
like,
this.
"Yeah, man."
Fuck it. They're all just fucking getting high,
Yeah.
just fucking looking at the stars. And he was just like doing a thing that like a dad would do, where it's like, "Oh, my son is kind of scared, like we're concerned," and he's like, you know what? I'll just call the police and like let them know, whatever, doing my due
I'll just narc on
diligence.
these aliens.
Yeah. I mean, that's our responsibility as inferior human beings. I mean, when I send up those balloons, I mean business.